can fill a natural gas pipeline. I promise to vigorously defend Alaska's rights as resource owners to develop and receive appropriate value for our resources. Of course, the primary focus of our long-term energy plan can be summed up in 3 words: the natural gas pipeline. This gas line, it's going to fuel our homes and our economy and careers for Alaskans for generations. The gas line is critical, not just for our future, though, but for the nation's future. It's also an essential component of our nation's energy policy. Truly, for energy independence, the nation will look to Alaska. We've already begun working with the White House. In fact, I had a nice conversation with Vice President Cheney today. And we're very, very fortunate to have a strong ally in former State Senator Drew Pierce, who's been tasked by the President to get a gas line built. The energy industry, they're also engaged, and I look forward to working with Congress and our legislators, our partners, to deliver our gas to market. There's currently more than 30 trillion cubic feet, or TCF, of proven reserves on the North Slope. However, if you talk to most geologists, you'll hear there's a good chance there's actually hundreds of TCF in the ground. It's in Alaska's and America's interest to get that gas to market. We need a project that ensures any viable explorer or producer can access a gas line on reasonable terms, and we need a project that can be expanded when there's more gas found. However, we must be realistic about the complexity of this. It won't happen with the snap of a governor's finger. It can't happen overnight. The process involves many entities with differing considerations and requires a lot of discussion with experts and with stakeholders. While bringing natural gas to market is costly and risky, there is no question this is a sound economic project. Over the last year, Alaskans have learned a lot from the prior attempt to develop our gas under the old Stranded Gas Development Act. For instance, we learned Alaska's gas isn't stranded. And we learned a lot about the oil producers' terms, what they are. We learned that under the old act, some producers will talk to us and talk to us and talk to us until we agree to their terms. But those terms were unacceptable. They demanded that, in a sense, we give up some fundamental rights as a state, as part of these United States, because the deal, it removed our taxing and regulatory and judicial authorities for decades. In fact, under those terms, my youngest daughter, Piper, she would be older than I am today before the state could amend those terms. The deal was a no deal, and our legislature was handed a plan that even exceeded the administration's authority. Remember, in exchange for those unnecessary concessions, the producers didn't have to commit to preparing applications, much less build a gas line. We need progress on a project and competition to result in the best project. We don't need endless discussions behind closed doors. It's time we leave the Stranded Gas Development Act in the past and we move forward with a new vehicle. A vehicle that builds on the knowledge and experience gained from a valiant but futile effort previously in a non-competitive process. So let me tell you our plan. My gas line cabinet is developing a bill entitled the Alaska Gas Line Inducement Act, or AGIA. The centerpiece of this is to induce construction of the gas pipeline, a gas line constructed on our terms without selling Alaska's sovereignty. This law allows transparent and competitive processes. It jumpstarts progress with incentives, and it strikes the right balance on the project for the state, the nation, the project proponents, and the producers. It will be good for all. We'll introduce AGIA this legislative session. We'll scrutinize its legality, which we're doing now, its strategy, and its efficacy. We're doing that now with top experts. With legislation this important, really it is more important that we do it right than do it fast. And we're not limiting this review to our own hired experts. The day after I took office, Lieutenant Governor Parnell and we began meeting with, and we're continuing to meet with, potential applicants to ask their opinions. We want to be assured that this bill provides the best chance to induce the best project and includes the right must-have components for Alaska. Since this issue is so important, I want to delve into some of the specifics of the Act. I know the public is waiting to hear this. First, it offers inducements to those who will build the pipeline itself. This might be the three major oil producers. It might be an independent oil or pipeline company. It might be a state or quasi-state entity, or it might be a combination of forces that are joined together. The pipeline construction incentives, they'll be valuable. They'll encourage companies to compete for the right to build this line. We're currently developing such incentives as a substantial state capital contribution, so bidders know that, hey, we'll have skin in the game too. Alaska will have skin in the game. We're also developing permit streamlining and state-funded training programs to ensure a qualified Alaskan workforce. We find this approach very exciting, and as we hear from potential applicants, many of the applicants that we hope will follow through with their application, they find it very exciting also. Second, to get a chance to compete for the inducement package, the applicant must agree to certain bedrock must-have requirements of the state, such as gas for Alaskans and jobs for Alaskans, and project benchmarks. It requires terms that ensure competitive and long-term exploration and more development on the slope. This pipeline must be able to expand in step with the development of new reserves, so North Slope gas energizes us not just for our lifetimes, but for the lifetime of our children. Third, the Act provides inducements to those who hold the leases and control the gas. Regardless of who builds the line, we need a mechanism to strongly encourage the leaseholders to commit their gas to the licensed project. But above all, one of the most appealing differences between this bill and the former is that AGIA will contain clear competitive criteria by which we can judge which project best meets our long-term needs. That means that Alaskans will know why the state is making the choices that it is. And this is an unprecedented approach. I recognize that. But truly, that's what new leadership and new ideas and new energy are all about. We're proud that within our first month, AGIA was devised and put in the hands of experts for evaluation. We will continue to work on the bill until we're satisfied that it represents a launching pad for a pipeline project that not only passes legislative and public scrutiny, but will receive those excellent proposals from applicants excited to build this gas line. It protects the state from untenable risk-taking, and ultimately, we're confident it will result in a project that powers our state and the nation. Alaskans are counting on us to succeed, and with your patience and with your support, we will succeed. Last year, the legislature also embarked on a new oil and gas tax structure called the Petroleum Profits Tax, of course, or PPT. It's anticipated this tax will provide almost $1.5 billion in our budget. However, with no track record to go on, this is merely an estimate. Like many legislators and experts in the public, I would have preferred to stick with our proven method of taxing oil and gas based on its gross value, rather than the much more complicated system basing taxes on oil companies' claimed expenses and profits. However, at this point, it is law passed by the legislature, so I've asked our Revenue Commissioner to assess and adopt necessary regulations to ensure PPT works as Alaskans were promised and tighten up any loopholes. We'll watch carefully as the first tax returns come in to make sure there aren't any surprises. If so, let's try again and get our production tax right.